The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization.
Hello and welcome once again, friends, to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, a defining image this week has been a governor of a state walking out of a state assembly while a resolution is being read out against him by the chief minister. What happened in Tamil Nadu this week, friends, is deplorable and is dangerous for a federal constitutional democracy. I'm not going to get into the blame game of the sequence of events that led to the walkout of the governor. But I will say this: a governor who goes to the extent of making politically loaded statements like calling for a change in the name of Tamil Nadu needs to seriously introspect. Ravi is a retired bureaucrat, a police officer who served with distinction in the IB, the CBI, and also in insurgency affected states. Surely someone like him should have realized the limits to the powers of a governor. A governor cannot be a political player, but sadly that's what Governor Ravi has become. He has sat on crucial bills, refused to give assent to them. He has been making statements routinely against the ruling DMK and its style of governance, and even deviated from the prepared text of a speech in the assembly. Sadly, he is not alone. There are now a number of governors, all in non-BJP opposition ruled states, who seem to be acting more as agents of the central government and political players than as guardians of the constitution. Arif Mohammed Khan is a distinguished politician, but as governor, he and the Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan have engaged in what can only be described as an open brawl, partly an ego battle, partly a consequence of the manner in which the state government has gone ahead and appointed vice chancellors of their choice without due consultation. Arif Mohammed Khan is a man of letters. The same certainly cannot be said about Bhagat Singh Koshyari, the Maharashtra governor who has often made the most absurd remarks at times in public functions. For example, in November this year, Mr. Koshyari said that Shivaji was an icon of olden times, while personalities like Ambedkar and Nitin Gadkari were the heroes of modern Maharashtra. I know that Mr. Gadkari himself will be a little embarrassed by the comparison with Shivaji, but not Mr. Koshyari, who clearly didn't seem to see anything wrong in linking Shivaji to a Gadkari. Earlier, the same Mr. Koshyari said that Mumbai would not remain the financial capital of the country if Gujaratis and Marwaris were removed from the city. Naturally, his statements have angered the local politicians in Maharashtra, but Mr. Koshyari, it appears, doesn't seem to be too concerned. In fact, a noted Maharashtra politician tells me that he once met Mr. Koshyari in the Raj Bhavan. The governor told him that he wanted to share a few books with him to improve the knowledge of the Neta. Truth is, Mr. Koshyari's qualification is that he is a staunch RSS man whose short tenure as Chief Minister of Uttarakhand was similarly undistinguished. Then we have Mr. V.K. Saxena in the national capital in Delhi as Lieutenant Governor, who seems to believe that as LG of a union territory, he is the one running the national capital and not the elected chief minister or the Aam Aadmi Party government. He has reportedly told senior bureaucrats to directly report into his office even on mundane matters like deciding the fees of government councils. Who matters more? A three-time elected chief minister in Arvind Kejriwal or a non-elected constitutional functionary? In Jharkhand, another opposition-ruled state, we have another former BJP MP in Ramesh Bais who has kept the Hemant Soren government on tenterhooks by refusing to disclose the contents of an election commission report that has allegedly indicted the chief minister. Instead, you have selective leaks from the Raj Bhavan over the last several months, being slowly put out in the public domain, suggesting that the chief minister could be disqualified soon. I guess all these governors in a way are following what I call the Dhankar model of Raj Bhavan politics now. For 3 years, from 2019 to 2022, Mr. Dhankar was engaged in a tug of war with the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. I have no problem with Mamata ji as a person, but you see, I am a constitutional lawyer, so I cannot tolerate injustice, is what he once told me. And so, the lawyer Mr. Dhankar kept throwing the rule book at the Mamata government, only to be rewarded in August last year by being elevated to the Vice President chair. In a way, a precedent has been set. Confront an opposition chief minister today and who knows, you could be elevated soon. When one asks the BJP about the confrontational attitude of the governors in opposition ruled states, a familiar response is this: well, we don't dismiss state governments like the Congress used to do when they were in power. But is that really an excuse? Yes, during Indira Gandhi's time, the Congress did routinely use Article 356 or misuse it to dismiss governors, to dismiss state governments rather. Now, the Supreme Court has made sure that there can be no misuse of Article 356. But here is the key question. Just because the Congress had rubber stamp governors who dismissed state governments at will and at the behest of the centre, is the BJP justifying political partisan governors or political partisan attitudes of some of their governor appointees? Forget about what the Congress did or did not do. The Congress is not in power today. Wasn't the BJP supposed to be a party with a difference? I know how angry Mr. Modi himself was when he was Gujarat Chief Minister and then Governor Kamla Beniwal had sat over crucial bills and pushed the government into a corner. Well, surely Mr. Modi will know what opposition chief ministers are going through. Or is it, as I often say on this show, where you stand in politics depends on where you sit. As a postscript, I want to leave you today with my favorite governor story. It concerns Mr. Romesh Bhandari, a rather colorful character, former foreign secretary, and when the late Mr. Bhandari was governor of UP in the mid-1990s, he'd also been governor, I can tell you, of Goa and Tripura. Mr. Bhandari had just ordered the dismissal of the Kalyan Singh government of the BJP and late in night installed a government led by Mr. Jagdambika Pal. Next morning, Mr. Bhandari invited me for breakfast to the Raj Bhavan. I was of course hoping to get a story from him on what had exactly transpired the previous night, that there was this last minute change in chief ministers. Instead of getting the story, he first took me to the Raj Bhavan garden and began giving me golf lessons. You see, Mr. Bhandari had created his own little putting green in the Raj Bhavan's lawns. When I asked him about this sudden change that had taken place in chief ministers without even allowing Kalyan Singh to prove his majority in the assembly, Mr. Bhandari replied in his perfect accent, "You know, Rajdeep, actually I could probably run this state better than all these netas. Maybe I should have just imposed president's rule instead of replacing the chief minister. That way I could bring some order to Uttar Pradesh." And then he began laughing. I knew that day that most governors see the Raj Bhavan as their personal fiefdom. And when you actually appoint someone with even the slightest political ambition, then please don't expect them to be honest, neutral guardians of the Constitution. They were, are, and will continue to be political players who are living out their post-retirement dream at your and my expense, the taxpayers' expense. They live in these luxurious Raj Bhavans and they become political players. Think about it. That was the straight bat. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind. Namaskar.